Hello and welcome to Vision Board Blueprints episode, which I'm really excited to talk about for two reasons. One is because you've got two queens in the house. You've got Queen of Business Organisation and the Vision Board Queen. And second of all, because the amazing Lisa Williams is launching her book, Vision Board Blueprints. So we're going to talk about vision boarding and why she does it and why we think, because I agree with Lisa that it's a really good thing to do in terms of setting goals and manifesting your dreams. But also we'll talk about the blueprint side and how Lisa has created one of her visions with her book, which I'm really excited to talk about. So before we get into it, do you want to introduce yourself, Lisa, and tell everybody what you do?
Amazing. Well, thank you, Danny, for inviting me onto your podcast today. I am Lisa Williams, also known as the Vision Board Queen, and my mission is to help as many women in business to create the blueprints of their dreams using vision boards so that they can live the life and the freedom that they desire.
Amazing. I love how that just rolls straight off the tongue. It's so clear.
It's such a natural now, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just I just know my mission is so strong that it doesn't change. I've got clarity on what I'm doing. I've got clarity on where I'm going. So I think it all naturally just rolls now.
It's a good place to be in it as well. And I guess I'm guessing that vision boarding has helped with that. Like in my journey, my message has changed over time. It can be quite confusing. I've finally got super clear on it. But as long as I've known you, like you've had it so clear since like the first time I come across you, which is amazing. Because if anyone ever says vision boards, we think Lisa Williams. So how did you actually get into being the vision board queen? Because I don't actually know this story, so I'm interested to
Oh,
know.
do you not know it? Oh, I thought you
No.
did. So yeah, obviously, that is quite a bold statement to make, first of all, isn't it? Vision board queen. I am the queen of vision boards. That is quite a bold statement to make. So it wasn't until lockdown 2020 that I actually started to own that title. But prior to that, back in 2017, I was in quite a dark place in my personal life. I had just experienced my second miscarriage at the time, January
I do know the
2017.
story actually.
Yeah. And it was at then that I felt lost. I felt confused. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I didn't really have a direction. And I was introduced to the world of personal development. And that was when I wanted to make changes. I didn't want to carry on like that. I didn't want to carry on being that person. So I started to make the small changes that I was recommended via reading, via listening, by watching YouTube videos. And I implemented these changes into my life, and it drastically changed the way I looked at life. It made a huge difference in how I showed up for myself and my family each day. And then, after that, I trained to be a vision board facilitator in 2019 because everything kept coming back to vision boards. I created my first one. I fell in love with it. Then after that, I loved it so much. I just wanted to share it with the world. So I trained as a vision board facilitator. Didn't really do much with it. And then in just before lockdown, I was 6 months pregnant at the time with our rainbow baby, and I kind of didn't really have a business. I'd left my role within direct selling that I was doing, and I had my gifting business, which I'd been doing for around, I'm going to say, 7 years at that time. And it didn't float my boat anymore, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. And I know you've been there at a very similar place, Danny. It didn't light me up like it used to. So
Mhm.
I was quite at a crossroads in terms of my business and my life. And I went to this event called One Manifest. Um, and it changed my life really, because it gave me the fire to bring my vision board coaching to life.
Yeah.
So I had all these ideas of what I wanted to do for my vision board coaching, and then we went into lockdown.
Oh no.
And I was like, do you know what? I'm not going to let it stop me. I had this vision that when I went on maternity leave, I didn't want to go back to the day job. So every idea that I had, I pivoted it and brought it online. And that's kind of how the Vision Board Queen role started. That's kind of the beginning of the journey. And it's not stopped since. It's kind of been a very much beautiful journey, and I've loved every single second of it.
Oh, that's amazing. And it's not stopped you as well, like 'cause I've seen you doing in-person things and strategy days now as well, which is amazing and so inspiring. I've got to admit I'm a little bit jealous because I want to do in-person stuff, but it's not on the cards just yet. But I've seen you doing all these amazing things, but it all comes back to all of that has been on your vision board, hasn't it, in some way or another?
Yeah, so obviously the vision is to help as many business women as possible. And in order to do that, they have to grow their business. You know, for them to achieve their visions and their goals, it's part of growing that business. So a lot of the stuff that I do is because my clients need that to grow their business. So it's kind of entwines, really. So some of the things that I've done was probably not a vision of mine, but I can see it's what my clients need. So I bring
Yeah.
it to life to help support them.
I can totally see that as well with like everything that you do. And I love how, because basically I've watched Lisa for a while and we are going to be working together soon. And it's because of seeing you do what you do that I approached you for something that doesn't exist yet to say, can you do this? And she absolutely can, which actually brings things to life from other visions that you've had and created, which is amazing. If someone's not done a vision board before, what would you say to them about starting their journey? Because I've done it. I've done it for about, well, I'd say about 3 years now, which is not very long really compared to someone like yourself who's probably done it longer. But I do them every year, sometimes more than once a year, sometimes mini one. I've literally just done one for a team because I started growing a team to work behind me, and it's massively challenging, like giving work away because I'm not used to it. But I've done a vision board just specific to having a team behind my business. So now I'm exploring different areas of doing vision boarding because there's never one rule, is there? But if someone's not done one before, what would you say to them for getting started?
So that's a really good question, because this is what I get asked a lot, and this is something
Yeah.
that I do share in the book. Because some people will think, oh, it sounds good, I'm going to give it a try, or some people are like, I just need to get the vision out there. So lots of people do it for different reasons, and the first thing I would say is to really just get a piece of paper, blank piece of paper, and a pen, and just literally brain dump everything out of your head that you want, and think of it as if like it was the Argos catalogue and you were a kid and you didn't really question any of it and you didn't really look how much things were. So it's very much kind of just getting everything out of your head onto that piece of paper, and then the clarity of that can come later. But the first step really is just to find out what you actually want, because people go through life and don't really actually ask what they want. They don't really find out what they want, and they carry on just staying on that hamster wheel of life of living and working, living and
Especially as
working.
adults. Because like you've just made me think, like when I was a kid, we did go through, it doesn't exist anymore, does it? They've got rid
No,
of it now.
no,
What's going
our
on?
kids are gonna be like a completely different generation, isn't
I
it?
know, like, what's the catalogue? But we
Yeah,
used to literally cut it out, stick it on a piece of paper, give it to my mum, and that was kind of manifesting what you wanted for Christmas because she'd get
yeah,
you
it
two
is,
things
and
maybe
that's what we
more.
did. That's what
Yeah,
we did. But people don't see that as like vision boarding. If you
yeah,
cut something out of a magazine and stick it on your fridge, that is vision boarding. You're just not putting the intention behind it as if you would create a vision board. It's the same with if you pin something or screenshot something because you've seen it and you like it. That is vision boarding, but it's just
yeah,
in a different format. When you actually print that out and cut it on a board, you're putting the intention behind it.
yeah. Like I'm gonna have that one day. That thing is mine, and I love
Yeah.
it, and I love doing that. And I just wonder why, like as adults, why we come away from that as we grow up. And it's really been fun for me to come back to doing that. And I love crafting, so it's a bit creative and crafty. I love brainstorming. I love journaling alongside it. So it just makes it fun for me to do.
Yeah. And I think some people aren't crafty though, and they think it's going to take too much time and it's going to take too much
Yeah.
energy. I'm not really creative, but you don't have to be creative. You don't have to be crafty. You are literally just finding images of what you want and putting them onto a board. And it could take you 5 minutes or you could spend 5 hours on it. Okay. It really does justify, doesn't matter. You are putting that intention on that board, and that's what matters.
It really does, doesn't it? I love that. Which brings us to the book. So was the book on your vision board? I think I probably know the answer.
It was on my vision board, yes. So actually it was, and then it came off and then it went back on.
Ah.
So here's a little story for this one for you, Danny. So I had a book on my vision board, I'm going to say for about 3 years. I wasn't sure what type of book I was going to do, didn't really had a few ideas floating around, and I was invited to become a collaborator in a book called Seen. It's a book around women who have undergone something in their life and they've stepped into their purpose. So in this book, I shared my story around miscarriages and how it's helped me move on to my purpose in life. We got best-selling status for the book. We hit loads of like top selling spots on the Amazon charts. So I moved that vision off my vision board. I've done it. It's on my achievement wall. I can push it to one side, and it was all achieved. And then that was in 2021. So it's October 2021. I ticked that vision off and I thought, that's it. I'm done. I'm an author. I don't need to do that again. So then last year, obviously, we're into a new year, 2022. And this vision of a book kept coming back. And at first I was like, oh, maybe I'll do a collaboration book and bring people's vision board stories to life, and, you know, share other people's vision board stories, and lots of ideas floating around. I was like, no, I don't need to do it. I've done a book. I don't need to do it. And I kept suppressing it. Okay. I kept pushing it away, And then it must have been November time, 2022. I kind of gave in and I put the vision back on the vision board to create a book. And then it was January of this year, 2023, that I actually started the writing process of that book. But yeah, I suppressed it for quite a long time, thinking I've done it, I don't need to do it. And then I just started learning as I was going with how to do the book and how to bring it to life on my own.
Amazing. And it has been amazing to watch as well. I have loved it and I can't wait to read it. And if you're listening, guys, go check out the show notes, because you can go get a copy for yourself as well, and go and see what Lisa has to say about building your vision with a vision board and the blueprints. So, and a bit of her story in there as well, which is amazing. I absolutely love it. And that you've done so much with your business. It's so inspiring to see people go through achieving things. I love it. Like, sometimes it can trigger people, but I love celebrating other people's wins. And when it comes to vision, like seeing something and then seeing people go and do it. And I've heard people say this to me in my journey as well. And when they say it back to me, it makes me feel good.
Yeah, it does. And but if I look back to myself 10 years ago, and if I'd seen somebody who was being really successful, I would have been quite jealous of that person.
Yeah,
I would have been like, oh my God, how have they been able to do that? And I think people probably think that of me, you know, but now, because I've worked so much on myself and I believe the abundance that there is in the universe, and I just love seeing other people achieve. So I get excited, or I get, you know, what's the right word I'm thinking of here? I get a sense of achievement when I see my clients achieve.
Yeah, same. It makes I'm a crier, me. I've been known to give clients like sobbing voice notes when they've achieved their goals.
Yeah.
And it just makes me laugh, but it just it shows being human, I guess. But it does feel amazing to see that. And like when there's people that are very real in what they're doing as well and sharing their story and the vision, and they show up and say one day, this is what I'm going to do, and then I see them achieve it, it makes me think, well, like same as you, like before, about 10 years ago, actually, I would have looked and thought, I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm quite jealous. Whereas now I think, like, I look at you doing your book, right? Lisa's done it. So I know I can learn and I can do it and I can.
Yeah.
And it's actually has been a goal of mine since I was a child to publish a book. I've always loved writing. And I did publish poetry when I was a teenager. And that's it. And I'm like, that's not enough for me. And I do get
Yeah.
this not enough feeling. And sometimes we're made to think that it's a bad feeling. And I don't think it is. I think having that not enough feeling is quite exciting because you can put these pictures together, you can map out what you're going to create, what you're going to do, and it does change. Like you said, you had it on the board, you had it off the board. I've done that a lot of times. Like I had buying a house on my vision board, but I've taken it off this year because I've fallen in love with the house that we're in, and I'm not quite sure if I want to buy it because then it means staying. Well, you don't have to be stay stuck. You can sell a house, but it means staying stuck. So I'm like, do I not want to? So for now, I've taken it off because I've like got other visions, and it does change, and that, I think that's okay as well. And people don't realize that just because you put a picture somewhere doesn't mean.
And that's the thing as well, is life changes, you know, things change, and the more we grow, the more we change as people as well. So our visions that you might think were what you wanted a year ago or 6 months ago actually might not be aligned to you anymore. And that's okay to change and pivot your direction. And some people see that as failing, but it actually isn't. You're actually growing because you're understanding what you want more, which is absolutely key to really being able to be crystal clear on your visions and your dreams.
Yeah, and it starts there, doesn't it, really? It starts with that clarity in the beginning, like with anything, life, business, anything you want to grow with, I guess. I always say that when I talk about business in particular, I always compare it to like starting a diet and losing weight, or trying to book your first holiday or something like that. It's very similar in the way that we go and achieve those goals. We start with that first step of envision it, like my mum does it. She sits on her phone and she screenshots these holiday destinations, and then before I know it, she's booked it, and she's like, right, okay, this is how I'm gonna. Basically, she creates her own blueprint to pay it off, and I think it's the same with anything in life.
And that's it. If you wanted a certain holiday, or if you wanted to buy a house, if you've got the vision and you've got that motivation to actually achieve it, then you can work out what steps you need to take to get there. You know, what goals you need to set each week. What do you need to do to step into that person? Like, you can't just, there's no magic wand. Like I share this in the book. We haven't got any magic wand, you know, we're not Cinderella. We can't kind of create the fairy tale and magic, you know, our visions on our lap. You have to show up and take the actions that you need to take to step into that person you want to become. So it's really seeing what the strategy is behind that and what steps you need to take to get there.
It's so true, and I think it's important people hear that as well. I've had people say to me before, well, how did you do this, Danny? And I'm like, well, first of all, I said that I was going to do it, and then I just took this action, then I took the next action, and before I knew it, you're on this path of creating this vision that you've had. And one in particular was leaving it wasn't really a day job because I worked evenings, but leaving my NHS job. Like I said in the beginning of 2021, yeah, I said 2021, I'm going to leave this job this year. I set the intention in January, did it in 6 months' time, and it just felt amazing. And I use that story all the time because it was such a big thing to do, quite scary. And I want to put the message out there to everybody else that I did it, you can do it, everyone can do it. They just have to, like you say, put that intention behind it and then take the steps.
Amazing.
Happen. So why do we want to check out your book? Tell us a little bit about it before we finish up, and why we need to go and check out Vision Board Blueprints.
I just think that the book is going to give you the tools to bring your dreams to reality. It is going to help you, you know, it's got some inspiring stories in there. It's got some great tips and toolkit to help you achieve those dreams and those desires. And just to show you, like, no matter what you have faced in your life, you have the ability to change, and there is steps inside the book that will help you move forward, along with like lots of knowledge, support and value to bring those dreams to reality.
Amazing. Let's go buy it and check it out. And final question that I ask all my guests is, what would be your number one tip for being organized in your business?
Oh, my number one tip: have a diary, have a planner. I've got one of them as well if you want it, if you're interested in one of them. Yeah,
Give me the link of that as well, please.
Yeah, it's well, I've got an undated one, but I am working on 2024's version at the minute. This is the 3rd year that I've done a planner, but I absolutely think that, you know, having a plan, having a strategy, setting your goals each week and each month, and making sure that you are staying aligned with your visions is massively important. If I
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
have a plan, I wouldn't be where I am now.
I agree with that 100%. Please do send us the link to your planners and I'll put them in the show notes as well. And everyone go check out Lisa and the amazing things that she does as the Vision Board Queen. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Oh, thank you, Danny.